So, the verification of the new Extreme Demon Cold Sweat has caused a lot of questions to be thrown around. How difficult is it compared to other demons? That's probably the only question. However, I have some questions of my own. How fun is it to play? How good is its decoration? How well does it sync? And how unique is the level? I'm Matmart, and this is another installment in GD Level Review. Today we will be analyzing Cold Sweat. Well, that level name made the sentence sound weird. Whatever. Anyways, on to the review. So, immediately you'll notice something. What's that? You don't notice anything or see anything? That's the f***ing point! At least in Black Blizzard you can see the horrible gameplay. Here you not only can't see it, but it's the only part of the level that doesn't really have any sync as the music is ambient and the decoration isn't doing it any favors. Luckily, the second you hit the speed portal, you get to see what this level was known for. Not the gameplay that still sucks, but at least you see the interesting effects. The sudden speed changes do sync up well, although this results in worse and more inconsistent gameplay. This effect is nice, but the level gets better. This part is interesting as basically everything flickers to the background music. This object's lining, the dots in here, and the background 1.3 objects. Although in this case the gameplay doesn't sync as well and is still not enjoyable, but I really like the unique structuring here. The memory gameplay fits as by doing specific orb taps you're somehow able to navigate through extremely similar looking structures. Pulling off this part is satisfying, although any stupidly frustrating part is going to be satisfying to win. Entering this triple speed portal brings us into another part. This part has a similar feeling to the last part while still having a different feeling. That sentence did not sound as good as I thought it did. What I mean is, there's still most of the decoration elements intact like these blocks, but certain things are added like these extra faded 3D structures and this atomic structure looking thing. I don't know what it is. Aside from that, the gameplay is a bit more streamlined and less memory based, and all the flickers still sync up to the background properly. After this icon effect, we approach the drop of the level, and this is the peak. Everything flickers to the music, and despite the spammy gameplay, it still syncs up really well, with the orbs timed up to certain music cues. The effects are absolutely dazzling for this part as well. Also, these colors are the perfect kind of glitchy style look, and it's hard to describe, but this song sounds just like these colors. Oh yeah, about the song, it's completely original and enhances everything this level does. Aside from the originality of the gameplay, it's honestly just nicely decorated spam. Just like every other part in this level, this section has simple but clean low-key block design which is refreshing compared to many other Extreme Demon bangers. Anyway, after this interesting transition effect, we get to my favorite part of the level. This is one of the parts of the level that looks like it would be really fun to pull off if you had the skill to do it, and for the most part, apart from these kind of stupid teleportation portals, the gameplay is completely sight-readable and skill-based. Like most other parts of the level, the gameplay feels really unique, but this time it doesn't really sacrifice anything, it's just fun to look at. This probably explains why this video showcasing a layout of the wave part has more views than the entire verification of the level. Just like the UFO, the gameplay fits in really well with the song and is synced perfectly. As for the decoration, it doesn't look as good as the UFO part, but it still manages to pull off really nice effects that don't distract much from the gameplay of the level. This part is what Cold Sweat is all about, and after that it transitions into the last icon. There's not nearly as much to say here, although I do like that basically every object has a stuttering effect and the level slowly loses all the lights and glamour, which then slowly cuts into this basic non-animated part and then the part with flickering 1.0 blocks. I actually prefer an ending like this over a decorated one because it is able to fit far better with the song. While the gameplay is a little hard to see if you don't pay attention, it's very easy and it syncs perfectly to the music apart from this one click which is oddly ignored. Now, it's time for the moment you've been waiting for. So, as you can tell, throughout the entire video I was never too fond of the gameplay. I can't even play through the wave parts and UFOs properly, but since I know my opinion won't be taken seriously because of something like, "Oh Matmart, you haven't beaten Cataclysm." Well, you know what? My opinion of the gameplay is pretty much parallel to Doggy's opinion. If you didn't know, he's one of the first victors of this level and he left his opinion in the description of his video. Basically, we had the same opinion, but he noticed a bug in the UFO while playtesting. So, as you might have been able to tell, he gave the level one of the lowest enjoyment scores I've ever seen, so I'd say I'm pretty confident when I say the gameplay is a 3 out of 10. Moving on to decoration, it's usually low-key and pretty solid. The basic block design combined with the amazing colors does this level many favors, however I can't give it a 10 knowing that levels like this, and this exist. Aside from that, the first part is needlessly bland, and while the effects are pretty good for an Extreme Demon, I've seen far cooler effects executed on other levels. This is not an entirely fair comparison because I don't think an Extreme Demon can afford to look like this, but nonetheless, if the bar goes this high, there's gonna be some low rankers. That being said, I give the decoration a solid 8 out of 10. The sync is a pretty massive strength of the level. The only part of the level that doesn't really sync is the first part. Aside from that, in most other parts, the level does an amazing job of synchronizing the effects, the gameplay, and the decoration to the song. The sync gets a score of 10 out of 10. The originality is quite interesting. You see, if I were to say one thing about this level, I would call it the anti-Extreme Demon. I'll elaborate further. This level breaks most, if not all, of the traditions of normal Extreme Demon design, only reminding me slightly of levels like Black Blizzard and Sunset Sandstorm. Aside from that, if you were adept, you'd notice that there's not a single ship part. Where's my straight fly?
Where's my straight fly?
It's kind of sad to say this, but there's not a lot of Extreme Demons which utilize effects like this. Usually Extreme Demons feel super generic or very grandiose, but this is just completely different. The gameplay is very unique, and as the level has a new song choice, I will award the level with a 5 out of 5 in originality. So overall, the score is a solid 26 out of 35. This translates into a feature in my rankings, however RobTop rated it epic. The reasoning for this is that Rob probably doesn't really account for gameplay when giving these levels a high rating. Yes, that sounds weird because Geometry Dash is a game and games are meant to be fun, but that's just how it be. Anyway, that was my review on Cold Sweat. I'm thinking of doing more short-term level reviews like this in the future, so if you like this content, make sure to subscribe to get notified for future uploads. I hope you liked the video, and peace.